I want to look at those three verses. So if you want to look there, or what that is 1 John. 1 John chapter 2. And then that's verses 15 through 17. I like the way John writes. He writes very simply. We could mistake the simple way John writes to think it's like not very important or not very meaningful or whatever, but it's quite profound what he says, and it's really hard-hitting for us. So I just want to look and think about these three verses here just for a couple minutes. He says, "Do not love the world." And so, of course, we might have different ideas about what the world means, the earth itself or something, but he's talking about worldliness, the world as opposed to, being godly, or the world as opposed to faithful Christians, that sort of thing. And he goes on to expand that. Do not love the world nor the things of the world. All those things that worldly people are doing, the sinful things, all those things that may entice us in some way, or the riches and things that shouldn't be our priorities. Don't love those things. And he says, if anyone does love those things, if anyone loves the world, the love of the Father is not in him. In other words, we're not being like God if we're chasing after all that worldly stuff. Quite a simple idea. We need to, be holy for I am holy, right? To be conformed to the image of his Son and to God. We're not doing that if we're all caught up after worldly things. And then he gets a little more specific in verse 16. For all that is in the world, the lust of the flesh, all the things that we see, or lust of the flesh, things that appeal to our flesh, right? The lust of the eyes, those things that we see, and there can be interrelation with our flesh on that as well. And then the boastful pride of life. These things are not from the Father, but it's from the world. And we oftentimes will relate this to even that very first temptation in the garden, where Eve saw that fruit, and the way that Satan was tricking her about that it appealed to her, and was going to be good for food, appealed to her flesh, and it looked really good for her eyes, and it was desirable to make her wise. The boastful pride of life. And really, if we think about any sin, whatever it is that maybe pulls us astray now and then, we can put it into one of these three buckets, or sometimes maybe they overlap into a couple different things. But all those things of the world, that's not from the Father. We're not to be caught after those sinful things. It's from the world. And back to the beginning, do not love the world or the things of the world. We are not to be part of the world. We're to be different. And then he explains a little bit about why, here in verse 17. The world is passing away. This is temporary. These things that may appeal to us on the fleshly level have some desire or whatever, but they're temporary, they're empty, they're vain. The world is passing away, and also its lusts, all those things that we might desire about, those worldly things. But the one who does the will of God abides forever. So this has been all negative. Don't love the world, but now it's positive. Here's what we should do. We should do the will of God. And the result of that, or the reward for that, is to abide forever. Now, this isn't really the plan of salvation in these three verses. This is a letter written to Christians, to encourage Christians, and I'm speaking to Christians here tonight. We need to encourage each other to not get caught up in those things that can lead us astray, but to remain faithful to God. But the one who does the will of God abides forever. There is a sense, in very general terms, there's a gospel message in there. Basically, faith. We need to have a faithful response, to obey the gospel and to begin following him in faith and live a faithful life. And so, even in these short little three verses, we can think about the gospel message for us. So, don't love the world. Don't get caught up in the things of the world. Keep your eyes focused on Christ. And to our invitation song, 297, prepare to meet thy God. Careless soul, why will you linger? You're wandering from the fold of God. That's where we're loving the things of the world, right? Hear you not the invitation? Oh, prepare to meet your God. We need to have the invitation to follow the will of God and do those things. and heed the warning. So let's get our heads on straight and be focused on the things of God. And anyone needs to make a change, we invite you to come while we stand and sing the song.